Welcome to Meet the Author.
Thank you.
Joe, it's nice to have you with us. Will you start off by giving our viewers an idea of when they pick up this copy of the book, what should they expect?
Well, I'm hoping that what it does is challenges them to do a deep dive into themselves like they've never done before, and start by saying, what matters to me? What do I want with my life? And I'm hoping to inspire people to take that and do the exercises in the book to help them actually figure out, how do I live this meaningful, joyful, fulfilling, passionate life? And I'm hoping that those exercises that are in the book, the real life 101 examples that we give in the book, will help them to do that.
I think a true hidden gem, though, in the book is that you use your personal story to help us understand and maybe parallel your experiences to get that result. So, give us some highlights, Coach.
Well, to me, it goes back to when you're 18 years old, okay, no one says to you, the things that I think are important about, well, again, what do you want out of your life, right? What do we do when we're 18? We're just told to go to college. You want to be successful? Go to college. Okay, well, that's not true. The bottom line is not everybody should go to college, and at least not at 18. So a big part of that is, I want people who are in life transitions. High school kid trying to go to college, trade school, military, job, whatever. College kid who graduates and then says, now what? The person who's in their first job and goes, this isn't what I wanted. So it's people that are essentially in this transition part of their life, people in a midlife crisis. So that's why it's not just for high school and college age kids, it's for anybody, even those of us that live in Sun City.
I'm going to get to that.
Are looking, now what, right? What do I do in retirement? And maybe I want an encore career, right? So, and all that is tied together with the 7 principles that spell out the word passion.
Did you wish you had someone sort of pointing all that out to you as you were going through your personal story?
Absolutely. And I talk about that in the book. And, my parents are actually here visiting right now, and I owe them everything. I do. My mom was smart enough to know that I had to have a backup plan, because in my mind at 17, I was going to play hockey in the NHL. Okay, I didn't know any better. I was so naive. And I was a good student, but not a great student. And my guidance counselor says to me, hey, Joe, I see you're good at math and science. Your mother works at Westinghouse's nuclear division. Why don't you be a nuclear engineer? And I was like, yeah, whatever. When do we drop the puck? Because I was going to play pro hockey, right?
It's sort of the 18-year-old banner there. That's what I'm aiming for. No steps in between. I'm aiming for that. Now, your mantra: dream big, keep it real, get it done. Yeah. You still insist that even as we transition as retirees, that we can still, those ideals will be true?
Absolutely. Hey, Colonel Sanders didn't start Kentucky Fried Chicken until he was in his 60s, right? I think the point is that most of us, and I heard the term PIP, right? Previously important person. And we're all that down here. You run into former CEOs and presidents, admirals, general, musicians, writers, etc.
Joe Battista's.
And they were all of a sudden, it was, how many rounds of golf can you play? How many, games of mahjong can you play? How many pickleball games can you play? We still have a lot to give. And I really would like to challenge people that are here to say, this generation in particular, I think, is just craving. They want mentors. They want people to teach them, to show them. They want structure. They want that direction, and they're looking for help. Okay, they don't necessarily want to do what baby boomers did. They don't like everything that we stood for. Okay, I'd like to think we were pretty successful overall as a group, but we had our, highs and our lows. So I hope that somebody will look at this and say, you know what, I still have something to give back. Whether it's at your church, whether it's in local community, whether it's here in Sun City in a different clubs. I mean, I went to the club fair the other day. If you're bored in Sun City, quite frankly, the issue is you. So I really believe that this book can help you try to pull out and navigate. All right, what do I want to do? And at this stage of our life, and that's a big part of my pragmatic passion sphere, as I call it, your stage of life. We can do things at this stage of our life we couldn't do at 18, at 25, at 40. So let's embrace that and make the most of it.
Now, before we talk a little bit more about the book, what sets you apart from a multitude of motivational speakers and authors?
I'd like to believe it's my energy. I'd like to believe it's that I'm relatable. I'm not this person who, made millions and millions of dollars, and I'm an average Joe who found a way to maximize his passion for life, for being with people, and I want to share that with others. And by the way, don't get passion. People think passion is this high energy, wear it on your sleeve. No, there's a great book that was written about quiet. Okay, and Susan Cain, I believe, is the author. And we show passion differently. Some people just keep it inside. They still have it. Mm-hmm. What I want them to do is take that passion and apply it to something. I hate the term "help me find my passion." I think we all have passion. We need to apply it to something. Mm-hmm. That's the disconnect. I want to help people find out what is it that we want to apply our passion to, and then bring that passion with you every day.
Now, you had me at keep it real.
Yes.
And I think that does set you apart.
Dream big. I'd like to think dream big. We do, our kids, our grandkids, that sort of thing, right? But the keep it real part to me is, you got to have a plan. You got to know what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are my skills, what are my competencies. When I hear people say that phrase, you can be anything you want to be, I say that's not true. I know I've got this deep baritone voice, but I can't carry a tune, so you will never see me in Carnegie Hall. Okay, I dream of being that person, but it's not going to happen. I have lack of talent. Okay, so that's the keep it real part. We still have to have aptitude, attitude, skills, competencies in order to go after those dreams. And then there's the get it done. To me, that's the most important one, because that's where we usually fail. We might have a dream, we might have a plan. We then never make the sacrifices and do the hard things that usually take some courage to actually get it done. And that's the part, to me, I want people to come out of this. Yeah, you're gonna have a goal. We're gonna make a plan. But ultimately, you need that kick in the butt every now and then, which means you need mentors and you need coaches in your life.
Now, much like many resolutions, without those baby steps and without understanding what you call this, you've named it, 7 principles. You've got them beautifully bundled under the acronym PASSION. Yes. Okay, and if I can remember, it's purpose, attitude, sacrifice, servant leadership, and then we have intuition, inspiration, and we've got options.
Options, which is decision.
Okay, and as hard as this is for me to remember, let me get that last one in. And it's going to be nurture.
Nurture, except in Nebraska, there it stands for knowledge. I'm just kidding.
Sorry, Nebraskans. Okay, now, as you look at anything, we sometimes want the easy. So which of those 7 principles do you think are kind of almost natural for us to adapt at this stage in our life? And which are some that were challenges? Because I had a couple moments listening to the audiobook where I was like, no, Joe. No, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not admitting, okay.
That's okay. No,
No. So which of those principles, because they're good principles, but again, easy and hard. How do you define it?
I think the attitude one, most of us can handle at some point. You know, we're going to listen to some music or we're going to hear some inspirational thing, right? So inspiration, attitude, those ones kind of come fairly easy. Purpose is, at the end of the day, you got to figure out what you want, what matters to you, what are your core values. You know, corporations have mission statements and vision statements and core values. Why don't we have them as people? And that's something I try to teach in the book. And the one that I think's the hardest is sacrifice, because it's the one that actually requires you to do some things you may not like to do. That makes it hard.
Yeah. And I can see how people would relate. Why don't we lose weight? Well, because we don't commit to a plan because it cost us to sacrifice.
You have to, what are you willing to say no to get to your yes?
And you've got your pragmatic points here, the reality 101s. It's a nice guidebook to walk us through. Now, why should we listen to you? Well, we don't have enough show time to cover all of your accomplishments. And so I dug deep and I did my research, as I should. And the one outstanding accomplishment I have to put on, and that is you were instrumental in facilitating the largest philanthropic gift in Penn State history. So you're going to talk about that, but I'm going to ask you, were there any of those principles or motivations that helped you to get that success?
Absolutely. And purpose was, my purpose was my...
Brag about what it was. You've got to hear this.
My purpose was that I love the game of hockey. I wanted to bring the game of hockey to the masses. And I've been doing that my whole life, trying to help grow the sport, et cetera. And one of our goals, our big thing at Penn State was to get a brand new arena and take the program from club status to NCAA varsity status. That was only going to happen one way, with private money. The university was not going to do it. So, it was one of those things where the perfect intersection of my passion and the Pegula family, in particular Terry Pegula, who was a Penn State alum, his passion for hockey, for Penn State, that intersection of opportunity, passion, purpose came together. And I first had a conversation with Terry Pegula in November of 2005. That gift didn't happen until July of 2010. That was 5 years. And, it was the relationship. Terry's relationship, we had to wait until he did something with his company. He was either going to have to take it private or he was going to have to sell it. He ended up selling it for $4.7 billion. He was the American, success story. Borrowed $7,500 from his mom and some friends and sold his company for $4.7 billion.
And you have to remind our audience who may not be familiar, what was the big dream? What did you get?
The initial gift was $88 million, which was the largest gift by a magnitude of 4 at Penn State. And then we went back and asked them for $14 million more. And they said yes, because we showed them why it was going to be the difference maker. And when it was over, Terry looked at me and said, "Don't ask me for another penny." He's gone on to own the Buffalo Sabres, the Buffalo Bills. He's given away hundreds of millions of dollars, especially in Western New York, where he has transformed downtown Buffalo. And this is a guy who is philanthropic, cares about people, has passion for life, for helping other people. He is that servant leader. That's principle number 4. And, it was the relationship. I think fundraisers sometimes make the mistake of it's like, here's what we need, and we're going to make you as the target. You're giving your money to what we need. And they forget that, well, did you ever bother to ask the donor, what is it that you're passionate about?
What's in it for them?
How can you make a difference? And Terry always said, I don't want to pay for light bulbs and new carpet and things like that. I want to do something transformational. And we were able to work together and get that done.
Well, now, as we talked, we can still at our age, live the dream, okay? And you are continuing to educate and motivate in classrooms and corporations. So you get kudos abounding for you as an inspiration, but who inspires you?
Well, first and foremost, it's my faith. It's, my belief in Jesus, my wife, who is a partner in that with me. We found the greatest church down here, and we just love it. The Low Country Community Church is where I go, and I list. That's the kind of music I listen to every day. When I wake up, I'm putting on my contemporary Christian music. I'm reading a devotional. My wife is doing that. We belong to 4 different Bible studies. I belong to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. That's my inspiration. That's my motivation. I don't live, I'm not a sinless person by any stretch, and I don't claim to be. I'm striving every day to get better, but that inspires me. And I'm also inspired by when I see kids and I see them achieve because of something they either read in my book or heard me say in a speech, or I taught them in a one-on-one session. And when I see it make a difference in their life, I remember that. I wear this particular championship ring because it reminds me to be a champion every day in life. And our players designed this ring. This was 9/11's year.
Let's do a camera shot.
And the kit, there's 9 stars and 11 stripes on a flag on the side of the ring because they never wanted to forget. Because one of the principles we talked about was always give back, have an attitude of gratitude. It wasn't about you. You never got anything in your life done by yourself. Other people lifted you up, especially when you were down. And you need to remember to say thank you to those people. So, like I said, to me, it's faith and family. Those are the things that inspire me every day.
Now, before we let you go into the presentation, sometimes we all need a little boost. So, are there ways that our readers and readers of the book can continue to connect with you?
Absolutely. The best thing to do is to get in touch with me. I have time, more time now than I had. So, and basically that's Joe Battista, 1960 at gmail.com. You can go to my website at www.pragmaticpassion.com or call me. Text me, 716-261-8059. I'll tell you, my dream is still in this area is to help the young people, whether it's the Beaufort County School District, the Jasper County, whatever it might be, the Savannah schools. I want to get involved with the young kids, but I also, USC Beaufort, right here. I do a Bible study over there right now with coaches and working with the baseball team and hoping to work with some of the other teams. I'm not done. I have a calling, and it's to help other people to dream big, keep it real.
Get it done. Well, we got it done for this interview. Thank you for the time.
Guy that wrote the foreword to my book, John U. Bacon, who he himself has written 7 New York Times best-selling books, said to me, Joba, quit trying to write the book and just write a book. Right? And my book ended up being 300 pages long. The good news is it's big print and it's double spaced. My next project is to take it and deconstruct it, and I want to write one specifically for student athletes, one specifically for high school students, and then one specifically for college kids, and then do a separate one for retirees. I was inspired to write this book because of my kids and what I saw them go through in high school with their guidance counselors. Now, we're all from different areas, but I'll bet a lot of us had the same experience. But when I went to Penn Hills High School, a suburb, I had 1,300 people in my class, not my school. That was in my grade. The 2 people I sat next to at graduation, I didn't know them. Okay, think about that. Well, when I got in to see my guidance counselor, nice guy, all right, he didn't know anything about me. He's looking at a sheet going, all right, let's see here. Okay, you've done well in math and in science, and I see your mother works at Westinghouse's nuclear center in Monroeville. Have you ever thought about being a nuclear engineer? And I was like, now you got a picture, you're going to see the picture in a minute. I got this big Juan Epstein from Welcome Back, Kotter, afro. I'm slumped over. I got the gold medallion, and I look at this guy and say, yeah, whatever, when do we drop the puck? Because I was going to be in the NHL. When I was 17, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to go play. I had just won the Dapper Dan All-Star Classic Most Valuable Defensive Player, right? When we were kids, we're all going to be a, musician, right? We're all going to be an artist. We're all going to be, a sculptor, that sort of thing. We're going to be in theater, an actor, actress, right? We all had those big dreams to be that person, right? Well, in mine, it was going to be to play in the NHL. And you know what? I actually got to play in the NHL. It's the Nittany Hockey League at Penn State. I grew up in Pittsburgh. A lot of my friends were going to go there, so I was like, you know what? That's going to be grade 13, right? So I decided to go to Penn State. Long story short, I get there. I'm in nuclear engineering. I hated it, right? I had to work twice as hard as everybody else. I walk into my first nuclear engineering class, and the guy's writing hieroglyphics up on the board, and I look at it, guy beside me, I go, you following this? And he looks at me and goes, of course. I'm like, I'm out of here. Right? So it wasn't until then that I got to meet a counselor at Penn State who changed my life. Okay, because what he did was he took the time to find out who I was, what made me tick, what I wanted out of life, what mattered to me. And he said, this passion that you have for hockey, you don't have to just be a hockey player in order to make a living at this. You can go into the business side of hockey, right? And I never thought of that, so I end up switching into the College of Business. I get my degree, and I ended up, my first job out of college was with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not as a player, but as in the marketing department, all right? I was selling corporate tickets, that sort of thing. And then something happened that changed my life again. The junior Penguins, which was a travel team, their coach got transferred. Now keep in mind, I'm 22 years old. They came to me and said, hey, the coach, he's gone. Would you come and run our practices for a couple of weeks till we find a new coach? 3 years later, I was still the head coach. My mother and father are sitting here. My dad's 91, Joe Sr. Okay. My mother, Angela, is a lot younger than that, and she looks a lot younger than that. As I look back, I'm so blessed. I have lived such an amazing, enjoyable life. It was a blessing. Everything that I got, think about it. A lot of it happened completely by accident, right? I didn't know, I was going to end up being a coach. I fell into a bunch of things, right? And then I kept thinking to myself, there's got to be a better way. Yeah, you can be anything you want to be if you have the skills, the competencies, the attitude, the aptitude, and a bunch of other characteristics to actually do that. Because if you just do what you love and you can't get paid for it, you know what that's called? A hobby. You take that passion that you have in you and you got to figure out, what is it I want? What matters to me? I have an exercise in here that asks you to figure out what are your core values, all right? If you don't know what you stand for, you will fall for anything. Dream big, keep it real, get it done. A lot of people have that big dream. A lot of people have the plan. The hard part is the getting it done. It's the execution. It's being willing to make the sacrifices that it takes to be successful, okay? That I have found is the stumbling block for most people, and that's where the exercises that are in the book, and when you get the book, there's a place where you can go online and you'll get all these different forms, exercises, okay? And what they do is they have a commitment contract to become a pragmatic passioneer. Family, faith. What? I don't want to get in trouble with you, right? Okay. Financial security, fitness, and fulfillment. Now you notice, power of pragmatic passion. I got faith, family, financial security, fitness, and fulfillment. I'm into alliteration. The principles in the book. Anybody know what they are? They spell, you're not allowed to talk, George. I know you know them. Okay. They spell out the word passion. Okay. The P is purpose. It's the most important one. You got to know what it is you want, right? It starts by those core values, figuring out what matters to you, all right? Next is the A. That's attitude. You know what? Every morning you wake up, you choose to be in a good mood or a bad mood. The first S is sacrifice. I think it's the hardest one that I ask you to do in the book. Okay, what are you willing to say no to get to your yes? All right, the second one is servant leadership. Okay, what are you doing for other people? All right, it's not about you, right? You have to serve before you can lead. Now we get to the I, inspiration. That's what the I stands for. Who are the people that inspire and motivate you? Who are the mentors and the coaches in your life? And oh, by the way, who are you mentoring and coaching? These young people need us. So the O stands for options. That's decision making. Okay? That's all about developing options and making informed choices. All right, now we're down to the last principle. It's N. Okay? The N stands for nurture, except if you're from Nebraska, there it stands for knowledge. Just kidding, just kidding. At any rate, so there are the 7 principles. Real quick, just a couple pictures because I think you'll get a kick out of this, okay? That's me. Juan Epstein, remember, right? That's me giving the referees Italian lessons, okay? And that's me skating pure hockey, best hockey there is, out on the pond, okay? And nobody's keeping score, nobody cares. That's when it was fun, okay? And, you know, this is what I do now. I teach hockey camp out in Sun Valley, Idaho, and, you know, just to prove that I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and you never should be, right? This is me and my group of my instructors that I work with out there, and we're at the Salmon River, whitewater rafting, and I decided that I was going to jump off this rock. Somebody told me to jump off a cliff, and I did. Okay, here's the problem. I forgot to take my hearing aids out.
With the new studio and lots of new residents, Sun City TV invites you to join our crew. Our growing technology presence requires enthusiastic creative volunteers as camera persons, editors, script coordinators, reporters, audio and visual support staff. No previous TV experience needed. Many of the volunteer positions require about 1 hour a week. Email us at suncitytvhh@gmail.com to learn more.